talked a lot about coming up here so I could have her see it in person. So since we never got a chance, I thought it'd be fitting. Okay.
We should put one of these up there after.
But if somebody wants to kind of take turns and say something that they'd like, read a poem, sing a song, this would be a good time.
Well, I'd like to say I'm mad at her because she turned this matriarchal society into a patriarchal society, and I didn't want that stuff. No, I'm not really mad at her.
So this is a letter from Doris. Dear Susie, also Cameron, Bonnie, George, your brother, the girls, and everyone else whose names and addresses I do not know. I am so very sorry for your loss. Right there my inner introvert kicks in and I do not know what to say, probably because there's really nothing else to say. As you know, Debbie and I got off to a very rocky start. I did not want anyone changing my life as I knew it. Thankfully, my husband was a lot wiser than I was, and a lot wiser than people gave him credit for. So by the time Debbie and I had our last birthday lunch, just a week or so before she started out on her trip home, I was much sorrier to have her leave my life than I had been for her to enter it. But she did not leave it entirely. She routinely punished me at words with friends, and we corresponded by mail, some, and by Facebook, some. She had messaged me a copy of the story she had written about the Maine Coon cat, which I'm assuming Mancoon cat,
Yeah, that's good.
who thought she was a dog and could fetch, I guess for her writing class, just last Saturday. Unfortunately, I did not comment on it because it was the last few days I had been so obsessed with cable TV, I have neglected Facebook. Another sin of omission I will regret and be unable to make amends for. It is a good little story, and if you do not find it on her computer, I will send you a copy. I will miss the great picture she posted on Facebook of the sunrises and the sunset, and your beautiful landscape that I will never see in person. So again, I am sorry for your loss, Doris.
I hate talking in front of people. But I wrote a poem the night that I found out. But before I read it, I'll share like some of my favorite memories of Grandma. When I had the luxury of being able to drive like 2 hours to go see her when I lived in Tennessee, some of my favorite memories are love for musicals. She introduced me to Rocky Horror Picture Show, which, oh my gosh, that was one of the funnest movie experiences because I did not know what I was in for. I miss cooking with her. It was always so much fun in the kitchen and learning new things and seeing how creative she was. Her garden is one of my favorite things, her being the green thumb of the family.
Except with aloe vera, right?
Yeah.
You know, those are things that I'm always gonna look back on. So, my poem. My world has been rocked, my heart has been taken, for all that I've known has left me shaken. You were my idol, my rock, a woman built of fire, a love worth its weight in gold. This woman who stands here now, you helped mold. You taught me to stand tall, that life's struggles may wear, but nothing was worth losing myself. Your love ran deep, you cared. You weren't just a grandmother who spoiled. To me, you were more, an idol. You were my biggest fan, my supporter. No person can take that title. The gift you gave me was a lesson on love, a nurturing and wise hand, arms open and always ready. You caught me always, you helped me stand. Now here no more, but always in my heart, my Gram's my best friend. Here's my promise to you today and always. I will live fully happy until I see you again.
That was beautiful, Nicole.
So yeah, I feel like I felt like a lot of things the last few weeks. Some really hard ups and some really hard downs. But one thing has been super comforting. It's getting to spend time in Grandma's house and lay where she laid when she passed away. And really feeling that energy super strong. Getting to see how she always took what she had and made the best of it, and seeing how just in a couple of years she settled in and made roots here and made family strong, in the sense that she was really kind of what we were missing for a while, being so far on the East Coast. And just the interior decorating of her house, and how she would find all these cute little things and tie them together into a beautiful home. And getting to see how she used her kitchen and all of her cute little gadgets she used in her day-to-day life. And I was telling Auntie earlier, she has a tile in her bathroom counter and it sticks out about 2 inches, and the other morning I just stood up and clocked my head on it, and I said there's no way in 2 years she hasn't done that at least 10 times. And just all the ways that she's here, the signs the last few days that she's been giving us. I walked through Walmart and I saw, I was just looking straight ahead, and just out of the corner of my eye I looked right and it just said, "Happy Easter, granddaughter." And I had no reason to look over there and see that, but I know that it was her way of saying hello. And just getting to go outside, and there's this purple flower grows everywhere around her house, and for months she's been telling me about the smell of it and how amazing it is, and it's just crazy. And it's been wonderful going out there and seeing the aroma. But then yesterday when we were in Sycamore, I felt her really strongly there, and there's just fields and fields of those purple flowers growing this time of year. And I'm not gonna lie, a part of myself dies with Grandma, and it seems like life was going really beautiful before then. Everything was okay, and it's gonna be a long time before it feels okay. And I feel a little bit robbed of all the time that we had. I felt like I had at least 10 more years, and you never know when life's just gonna cut it short. But I was reading, going through her stuff that she had made, and she made a scrapbook for herself. And so I thought this would be really pretty to read. It made me cry because I really related to what she said at that moment in time. But it's just called My Thoughts One Morning. Life is full of ups and downs, twists and turns, bumps and grinds, and lefts and rights. Everything is running along smoothly when BAM! You hit a pothole. Or everything's a big mess with nothing going right when BAM! You hit the lotto. Mr. Miss Right turns out to be so wrong. You find yourself leaving a life you thought you knew and wanted, or entering a life you know nothing about with zero plan and no idea how you got here. Jobs come and go. The greatest love of your life turns out to be a loser. Your best friend turns out to be your long-awaited best love, or the meanest backstabber ever. You lose someone forever. You find someone today. You lose yourself. You find yourself. You lose your wallet, your mind, your self-esteem. You find it all right where you left it. and you knew you wanted to turn right, but you turned left for some reason. People come and go in our lives. Events mark the seasons, season marks the years, and years mark the lines on our faces. The entire time, what we are witnessing is change. Always change, sometimes slow, sometimes instantly. It's constant, it's relentless, and the only thing we can change about change is our reaction to change. I see people who don't accept change, and they don't allow it to flow over, through, and past them. It does terrible things to them. It shuts them down, holding them in a world of fear and pain. I see others who welcome change, and their lives are full of activity and new adventures. I'm thinking that the ones who get the most out of life are the people who aren't afraid of change. Learn to navigate life's roads quickly and without too much fear. Don't sweat the small things, and when a big one comes along, they are able to absorb the shock and move on quickly to the next adventure. Life is very short, my friends. The only way I've found to slow it down is by getting lost in the small things and enjoying all the little gifts along the way. There are many. And pay attention to your inner voice. Don't ignore the signs, and when it's time to take action, take it. That's my sermon from a cliff in Camp Verde on a beautiful fall morning.
She'd love to get it done. We had a lot of it together.
Well, for myself, my sister represents a lot of things to me. I was always amazed at her artisticness in so many things, including her mindset on how she saw things. She was the first person that I ever partied with and got high with, and there were some times when, looking back on that, not that I condone those things now, but they're good memories. I remember one time the family was having a picnic out at Granite Lakes, and her and I were riding together, and I had picked up something somewhere, and anyhow we were tripping on the drive out there. By the time we hit the dirt road, we were peaking, and every time she would look at me, the color of her eyes, this brilliant green, these little laser beams would come out, and they would tickle me all over, and I was laughing so hard, my cheeks hurt, my sides were aching, and I'd go, stop it, and she'd go, what? And she'd look right at me, and I'd go, no, stop it. And just moments like that, that we shared together. Some of them were harsh words, but they were words that I needed, because I needed somebody who was on the outside looking in. Sometimes she was a guardian, because she told me no matter what you do, never use a needle. And in all my ventures, I made sure of that, because I could always hear her voice in the background. And I always thought there would be plenty of time for everything. And she moved away and she was gone so long, and so much happened. And I've always been the worst one in the family to communicate, write, call, or do anything. So there were long periods of time where I didn't get to talk to her or see her. And I was so excited when she came here. I had some ideas and thoughts, and those things won't happen. And I found in my thinking that today was a very appropriate day to ceremoniously put my sister to rest, because this is the day that the Lord rested over the Sabbath. And so that has a special meaning to me for her. And then, not too long ago, us kids got together, and Darlene was there, and George, and we had dinner back at that restaurant again. And a couple days later, I sent her a text, because I couldn't help but stare at her, because she was glowing. She had a glow of life about her, and it was beautiful. So much so that I just couldn't leave it unpassed without commenting on it. And those are some of the little things that I will miss, is the look, her ways. And although we were, well, all three of us are so very different. Every one of us. Different parents, except for Mom. But yet, we're so much alike. And in my own life's travels recently, I have found how important it is to find, hunt, and seek the beauty in each person. I saw it in my sister, even though we didn't see eye to eye. And I wish I would have had more time to be able to celebrate those things with her. And I realized on the way up here in the parking lot, this is our family. This is all there is. And how blessed are we? So diverse and so different, and yet the same. Not just in blood, but because that's what DNA does. And we're human. Now, I'll miss everything that she is and has been to me personally, but her place in the family. My prayer is that everybody will see her in their mind, smiling and glowing.
I'm gonna miss my sister a lot. Already have. We had so much fun times together. We took trips I would fly back to Indiana. We would take trips there. I'd go on my birthdays a lot of times in October, and she would always have some adventure planned up for us. Zip lining, crawling on our bellies through caves. Going out to Martha's Vineyard on that long bus trip we took together. Somebody to walk with, talk with, watch TV with. I'd go over to her house sometimes and we'd just sit, watch a movie, talking, sipping on tea. She'd come over to our house. We'd go off on another adventure, shopping, sightseeing, going to restaurants. She liked to do that a lot. George and I would have a lot of fun with her, meeting at Denny's or Krusty's or Sutler's Steakhouse, Utterly Divine. She enjoyed those times and we enjoyed them together. We would go to plays, and she had moved here. Just took on rides and picnics up here on the rim. Went to tea houses, a couple of those. We just hung out, went to the lavender fields, and she just loved that stuff. Always taking pictures, telling me that I needed to take more pictures. Sis, you gotta post those pictures you're taking. I don't know how, sis. I can't always remember how to do that. Oh, give me your phone, let me show you again. Always having to come over and bail me out on the computer stuff. Totally computer illiterate. And she could set things up for me and told me that I needed to learn that stuff because she might not always be there to help me. And I still don't know it, and she's not here to help. And I just will miss all the happy times that we had together. I'm very glad that she got to spend the time here the last couple years to do the stuff that we did get to do and to love one another. And that's what it was all about, loving one another. I'll miss you, sis.
Her laughing on the trip down into Havasupai as you guys were on your back like a turtle.
Oh, yeah. That was a great trip I planned and put together for us, wasn't it?
Yeah. And the sandals that just happened to be her exact size sitting on the table when you got there because
Her
she was
feet
getting
were covered in
blisters from her
blisters.
shoes.
And wouldn't have been able to do anything had those sandals not been left there in her size.
Yeah.
And nobody claimed them while we were there.
Yeah.
Nobody came and asked. Just a present from God sitting on the table.
Yep. It was so hysterical watching you guys. I mean, I just remember you guys always kind of helping each other, not just the trip down, but then going down the chains.
Yeah.
And helping each other go down the chains.
Me encouraging her, her encouraging me.
Yeah.
Anti-cackling.
Always the daredevil. And she never realized her age. We were in the Garden of the Gods over there by Indiana, Kentucky, I guess it was. And we're looking across. And all of a sudden, she just flies in the air across to this other boulder. And I'm just like, and she almost, if she hadn't have touched the rock and leaned on it just at the right time. She was going over the other side where there was nothing. And I said, "What are you doing?" She goes, "I don't know." She goes, "I don't know what I was thinking." She goes, "I wasn't thinking. I thought I was 16 again." That's when she started having her foot problem. Was that due to that jump? But yeah, she always thought she could just keep doing whatever.
You know, I don't know about you, sis, but I thought she was, like, something was wrong with her, that she would go off with this guy to Turkey and then have Cameron over there. And it wasn't until I was much older that I realized there wasn't something mentally wrong with her. It's just her sense of adventure. It's just who she was. I mean, even way back then, she was never afraid to express in some adventure, whether it was going out camping out in the middle of the desert.
Or the jungle. Down in Mexico.
Yeah, off, you know, and her adventures with Mr. Daniels in the V-dub. Just, yeah.
Yeah, she loved adventure.
She did.
And she did. In her poem, she saw everything in the minutest little things. She'd always be pointing things out to me. And it was like, you notice every little thing.
Yeah.
And I just go along life and don't notice anything.
She always gave me the confidence. Never fear. You know, don't be afraid to try something new. Don't be afraid to experiment with food. You know, don't be afraid to just fake it till you make it. You know?
Yeah.
She always gave me the strength and confidence in myself to just be like, hey, I know you're 11, but you're going to learn to drive a stick today. You know, driving that little Toyota between Yarnell and Skull Valley, and couldn't even see over the steering wheel, but I learned how to drive. She said, if something happens, you got to get us out of here. So my whole life I've always delved into stuff, and people are like, well, how do you do that? How do you do it? I just do it. I just learned early on that my mom said I could do it, and I just do it and try it. And if I don't, I find somebody else to help and figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah.
I remember we were driving to Holiday World, which was, being younger, which was like the most exciting thing. Who can say they take their grams to an amusement park and will ride roller coasters with you and all the other crazy rides. And I remember we were driving by this field where the big hay bales are rolled up. She just pulls over. She's like, get on that. And I'm like, what? She's like, climb up there. I'm going to take your picture. And I remember climbing up there, and by the time I had climbed down, I was so scratched up and itchy. And I griped about it. I was like, seriously? And Grandma just like laughed at me and just loved it. But I still have that picture where I just entertained her and got on top of that. I mean, that hay bale was taller than I was.
Oh yeah.
Climbing up a bit.
Huge back there.
Yeah. And just being scratched to crap. Like, and I was like, the crap I do for you. I love you. Oh my goodness. Like, I loved her just random, like, see a store on the side of the road. That looks neat. Like, we stop and go look at it. Or, hey, there's a new food place I want to try. Okay. Or climb on top of a hay bale so I can take your picture.
And what about those pretzels you told us you could make?
Grandma, oh my gosh. So it became a routine that every time I came to see her, Fresh Market hadn't made it out to where we lived yet. And they have blueberry yogurt covered pretzels, which are crack. They are so good. And every time I'd go up there, we'd always stop at Fresh Market, and I got my blueberry pretzels, and then it got to the point to where if she came to see me, she'd bring me 2 giant bags of blueberry pretzels because she knew I'd be through one by the end of that night. And she'd be like, you better slow down. I'm like, I can't, they're so good. And then, you know, trying apple butter, because I always wanted apple butter like you had made the one time for me as a kid. Bought apple butter at Fresh Market, and she has a picture of me mid-spoon. What you don't see after that picture is me going,
oh my god, this is disgusting, because it was not like the apple butter I was growing up with. It was bitter, and she thought it was hilarious that I was now stuck with a giant jar of apple butter.
And caught you in the prime moment.
Yeah, just mid-bite, and then like, oh, it was so bad. Not like Auntie's apple butter.
She came to visit me in Colorado when I was still much younger, and I remember we went down to 16th Street Mall, and or 6th Street, or is that down in Denver? But
16th.
anyway, we took the trolley, and we got artichokes at this fancy Italian place, and she tried to turn me onto an anti-pesto platter, and at the age of like 9 or 10, I was not having that. And we went to the candy store and the fudge store, and that was always something nice. We could all be gluttons together and just like indulge, just like, oh, we're on vacation, we can eat whatever we want. And we snuck all of our candy into the movie theater, and I remember us both like waddling in there trying to not look suspicious. And the first thing I remember about Grandma is her purse, because I think all of the ladies in this family have giant purses, and we hold everything in there that you could possibly ever need. And so I remember cramming all that in there, and we got out of the Master of Disguise, and we were like, am I not turtly enough for your turtle club? Turtle, turtle. And we were dinking around shopping for too long. And I remember we were chasing the bus, and I was holding on to Grandma's arm. I was like, Grandma, we're going to miss the bus. And she's like, we might have to walk, sweetie, because I don't think we're going to make it. And the guy just sees us struggle bussing as we're trying to run as fast as we can, and he slowed down and waited for us. And boy, I sure thought we were a goner there, because I asked her how long it was if we walked home, and she said 3 miles. But that was the first time I ever took a city bus and went anywhere, and she just came on in and said, well, I looked up these routes, and this is how much it costs, and this is where we're going, and this is our plan. And sometimes we didn't stick to the plan, but for the most part, she knew how to plan a very fun adventure.
I remember 9 years ago, and I think that, like, we're all mentioning in our stories how Grandma pushed us to try new things and be adventurous and think a lot less, because I'm an overthinker. 9 years ago, Grandma, I don't know how she talked me into it, but you remember her Mardi Gras girls, or Glitter Girls? Oh, Glitter Girls. They had a fundraiser for an AIDS foundation in Evansville, and you had to model a bra. And I remember somehow Grandma convinced me to do it, and one of the artists of the show picked me. And I remember being like, well, how does this work? What am I doing? She's like, well, you're going to walk down a catwalk. And I'm like, wearing what? And a bra. And my bra was made out of copper piping and fiberglass. Thank God it was not clear. Okay. And it had diamond tips. Yeah. So when I found out what the bra looked like, I was like, oh gosh. And I remember I had a spray tan, I was wearing shorts, and I was so nervous, and Grandma was like, you got it, and I'm like, I don't think I got it, like, I don't think I'm gonna fall, like, these girls are spinning around and stuff, and put it on, and I remember she had to help me relax, because I was nervous, and the bra also dug into my sternum, and I couldn't really breathe, and I remember sitting there, and I went to take a breath, and it cracked, and we were both like, okay, just don't breathe. Be fine. Just walk down the catwalk. Don't breathe. You'll be fine.
Just don't breathe.
And I remember I got up on that stage, and as soon as I saw Grandma, like a familiar face in the crowd, yes, I could see everybody else, but I was good. Like, I was golden, and she just was beaming and rooting me on, and the music was going, and I'm walking down, and like, if it wasn't for her, I would have never, ever signed up for something like that in my wildest dreams. Modeling a bra in front of a bunch of people I did not know, and that's another fun memory, and I love it.
It really points out who she was.
She's that friend that's like, oh, you can do it, it's fine, but then she doesn't do it, but you're doing it.
take a little joy in your discomfort.
Yeah. I got you. I'll have evidence for later.
I remember when I was little and we visited and she put me in her, they had a big garden tub and she bought me this foaming bath stuff. And she's like, I'm going to make you into a mermaid. So I stood up in there and she took the bottle of this foam stuff and she did. She drew the little seashells on the top and the little straps around the back, and then she drew this thing and then strings down my legs for my little grass hula skirt. And I don't know if we still have that picture somewhere. I'd like to find it, but I just remember that.
I'm gonna turn you into a mermaid.
Or her wigs. She had
started
wigs.
your addiction to Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Oh, her love for Jeff Goldblum always had me laughing. I think we talked about Jeff Goldblum at least once every visit.
Oh my
When we
God.
watched
The
something
last
with him in it,
the last time
and
we
she'd
were
be
out.
like, "Oh man," I'm like, "Okay, go down there, Grandma." Like, she's just like, "I love me some Jeff Goldblum."
You watch like the Gold episode or
Jurassic-
whatever.
Jurassic Park or like anything like that. Like Jeff Goldblum was her man.
Independence Day. Yeah.
The last project was trying to get a copy of the original American version of The Big Blue on the DVD. I'm still working on it, but she got so excited because she thought I said, I think I got it on the DVD. I don't know yet. Unfortunately, the dubbing was off, so the picture and the sound was off. So,
Oh gosh.
so I was telling her I was trying to get it on there because we have this coveted copy that we cannot get on DVD. It's strictly VHS, and I've been trying to figure out how to get it.
You
on
still
this.
have the VHS?
I do, yeah.
I can put it on DVD. I have one of those
Converters?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, because it's one of those. You have to almost go with like computer and convert it over because it's so copywritten. But she had tried it with multiple people out in
Well, I
Indiana.
have one of the.
It was like our quest, the holy grail, you know. And it's funny because it's been going on for 30 years. It's like we've been trying to get this thing copied over. So
Now you got to get it done.
yeah.
I'm glad that she got to be out for the last couple of years and we got to spend time with her, but I gotta tell you guys, I'm still pretty bitter. I'm really kind of angry about the whole thing. Like, I didn't get to know her as much as you did or spend as much time, I think, as Sam and Nicole, but I'm really kind of pissed. You know, like, we got to go down to Tonto Natural Bridge. She's telling Mom, come on, Susie, you can do it. Just put your butt here and put your legs here and we can go over these boulders here. And like, she was doing amazing. And by the time we got to the end and had to climb out this thing, she had to stop and rest quite a bit. And her face was all red and she's like, I think I'm gonna die. I'm like, I'm gonna go get the car. So I went and I got my mom's car and I went down and picked them up where they were. But I get so angry that she did that and everything was fine. And she makes a better life choice to change her diet. She's losing weight, she's doing better, and then she goes. Guys, I'm so mad. I'm so mad at that. I was so worried about my dad and not tracking in COVID-19 crap or whatever it is and taking it into him because if he got it, he'd be gone, and that's all I was worried about. And the next thing I know, she's gone. 67. Not, what, 2 weeks short.
68, yeah.
Oh, was she? I thought she was the same age as Dad.
She's the same age as George, 67.
She was born in
But-
53.
I was just like,
17 when she had.
there are people out there that have lived until they're 85. I mean, look at freaking Betty White. Good grief. I love Betty White.
Yes.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm really kind of angry that she didn't get 10 or 15 more years. And the only thing that makes it better is at least the last 2 years she was here. But there were camping trips that we wanted to go on. And there was so much stuff. She came to see the kids play. She was having a relationship with them. And I don't understand right now. I'm sure I will someday, but right now I just don't get it. And it sucks. Sorry to be the downer.
You're just saying what we're all thinking.
It's nothing Sam and I haven't talked about.
I was always intimidated by her, and I told my mom, I figured it out. I figured out why, because she was so cool. And the one thing Ryan appreciated about her was she always spoke her mind. She was never like pussyfoot around about anything. It was always just a straight shooter, and I think that's where my intimidation factor came in. I think because I wear my feelings on my sleeve, if she didn't like something, she'd just tell me. Like, we wanted to put grass in the backyard because we have dogs, and she's like, you have dogs, why do you want to put grass in the backyard? Because we have dogs. they like grass, but I've always been so sensitive. Her honesty always just kind of.
Like when she told you you suck at giving hugs, and now and then I remember this last year. She said Autumn is really becoming a good hugger.
I would put my leg up around her now. But so I think that's why. I don't think she was intimidating. I just think that I was always sensitive, and when she would tell me something, I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, my idea sucks.
That's okay. She told me I was getting fat. It's like some real honesty right there. I don't know if anybody else in my family could have or would have had the motivation to just be like, hey, maybe you want to lay out the Twinkies so you don't look like me in 20 years. And, you know, it's like this brutal honesty. I was like, I don't think I would have ever really taken that seriously. And my God, if she didn't tell us all to floss and brush our damn teeth.
One of the things I'm gonna miss is
Because she was the queen of teeth problems.
Teeth problems. Oh, yeah. I think she died needing one more crown. It should be like a joke, you know?
I'm glad
After
she
the
didn't have to spend her
Amen. After the 9 or 10 crowns she's had the last year, forget the last crown.
I'm gonna miss having her as someone to not relate to necessarily on the good things, but to relate to on the darker side of things for me personally. Being able to suffering from anxiety and depression, Grandma got it. If I ever called her and I just was having a bad, not just your normal person's bad day, but a dark bad day, I could call her, and she never let me rant about it for too long. She always kept me in line so that way I wasn't sulking and wouldn't be drowning in it, but I could express what it was I was feeling that I felt not your average Joe would understand where it was coming from. And she usually had a story that would relate to it, and her story led me to how to get out of that, to how to work the mind and the thought process. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't scared not having that person to keep me on the brighter side of things. It sucks not being able to call her.
She was always one to entertain anything. If you'd just call her, you'd talk about deep stuff and things that really mattered, or you'd start getting into like, well, I had this pimple on my back the other day and I couldn't pop it by myself. And she's like, oh, I had some weird toe jam going on, you know, and just like those funny conversations, the real conversations. She'd entertain anything as long as...
I think we were talking about ingrown hairs the last time we were on the phone.
She's a real person with real advice and always jokes.
Yeah, that was one of the things I loved about her was, you know, whatever it was, you could communicate to her because, as you and I had talked about, it's about experiences.
Yeah.
She had had a lot of them, so she could always find a point in which she could relate, and then take that point of communication and deepen it right there while you're talking. And she always, yeah, Nicole's right. She, you know, even with me, and I needed it sometimes. You know, I would come to her and say, you know what, life sucks, and I think it's time to pull the plug. And she's like, oh, grow up, brother.
That literally is what Grandma would say.
Yeah, you know, those kind of things. But I was never afraid to share those things with her for fear of condemnation. It was just like, yeah, okay, so you go through that too? Okay.
Love and understanding, no
Yeah.
judgment.
Yeah.
No judgment ever. Grandmas are meant to be your best friends, and when you're scared to go to mom and dad, go to grandma first.
And I always ran to grandma first. She'd soften the blow, give you your rough draft, and send you on your way.
Yeah.
Are you gonna sing for us?
Well, I was just gonna play Amazing Grace, but I didn't know if I should do it when we're sprinkling the ashes.
Oh, I like
or-
that. Yeah, I like that.